Hey team, I'm Dylan from Draft Academy Online, and today we're going to be breaking down the Yahoo Fantasy Basketball rankings for the 2019-2020 season, finding out which players are overvalued and which players are undervalued where you can get a draft steal. So the Yahoo Fantasy Basketball rankings look pretty good this season for the most part, but if you play in a league with players who follow this stuff like gospel, you're going to be able to find some steals on draft day. So let's break it down by going through which players are overrated to start. Okay, so at rank number 9 we have Paul George from the Los Angeles Clippers. So usually on any given year, Paul George is a first round pick. However, this season things look a bit murky. He's got a shoulder injury at the moment with no set return date, which means he could probably miss all of October, maybe start his season around November. Also, he's going to have Kawhi Leonard in his ear, telling him how load management is what won him a championship last year. So it looks like Paul George could miss anywhere between 15 to 20 games. And for a first round pick, you just can't do that. You can't have a first round pick who's not going to play 20% of the season. I currently have him ranked in the second round, early second round from my personal rankings, which I will release shortly for you guys. So at this position, at this rank, I'll let other people in your league deal with him. And if he does fall to the second round, that's when his value starts to come into play and you have to make that sort of call. Okay, so the next player who's ranked too high for me is Ben Simmons from the Philadelphia 76ers. So as an Australian, I love Ben Simmons. Everything about him. He is an incredible athlete. He's got amazing court vision. He does make players on the court better around him, and I really value that in a player. But for fantasy purposes, he just has too many holes in his game to really justify taking here at the end of the second round. His free throw percentage needs to come way up. He's a negative in threes, and until he gets a jump shot, I just can't trust him here. There's better players, okay? Especially at this value. So even if you have a punt free throw build, this might be a little bit high for Ben Simmons. He's more a third round pick at the earliest. So for me personally, I'll be steering clear of Ben Simmons at rank 22. You have much better options there. At rank 29, we have Chris Paul from the Oklahoma City Thunder. So here we have another all-star who's ranked a little bit high for me. So I understand this ranking. He's moving away from Houston, which had James Harden, a massive usage machine, to Oklahoma City, which has this huge void to fill since Westbrook has left. But the fact is, he's 34 and getting older. He's had consistent injuries over the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's always missed time. He's on a team which is rebuilding and looking to develop youth. So he's going to miss those back-to-back games. He's going to get those odd days of rest. So at most, I see him playing 65 games, at most. On top of that, there's the risk that he could actually just be traded to another team completely. And if he does go to another team, there's no guarantee he's going to be the starter or even like a key role player there. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to have a great season. He could probably average around 10 assists, but at rank 29, I just can't do it. And to be honest, neither should you, considering the injury tag and the shutdown risk here. Okay, the next player I have overvalued for the Yahoo rankings is Steven Adams from the Oklahoma City Thunder, coming in at rank 66. So Adams gave up a lot of rebounds last year to Westbrook. So I definitely think that's going to increase. He was at like 9.5 a game. That could get up to maybe 11. However, that free throw percentage is just way too low for me to justify taking a player this high. He shot 50% from the free throw line last year. 50%, flip a coin. Maybe he'll hit it, maybe he won't, who knows? But that is just such a detriment to a player on your team. Additionally, I don't think OKC are going to be playing him the same amount of minutes they did last year. There've already been rumors about trading him and using it to him to acquire more assets. So if that happens, there's no guarantee he's going to go to a more favorable situation. At rank 66, this is just too high for me. I can't justify picking up a center who is a liability in free throws, doesn't hit threes, doesn't get assists this high in the draft. You have better options, and even in a punt free throw build, I feel like you can get him a little later. So this is a reach for me, and I would advise dropping him back to the 80s if you want to take Steven Adams. Okay team, now we're on to the good stuff. The players who are currently being undervalued and where you can really get a steal on draft day. Okay, at rank 44, we have Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz. Now last season, people were drafting Donovan Mitchell in the 3rd round, sometimes even the 2nd, because there was such high hopes for him to break out, because the talent is real. With Mike Conley around as his backcourt partner, he's not going to have the sole scoring responsibilities in the backcourt. He's going to be playing alongside a veteran point guard who knows how to get people open and make the right plays, and that's really going to help his efficiency, I think. We're going to see that jump up to maybe 45+%. Additionally, all the off-season movements, bringing in all these additional shooters, is only going to spread the floor more, which means he's going to be able to do his thing and get to the ring a lot more. He's probably going to see a bit of a spike in his free throw attempts, and considering he shoots a decent percentage, this is only going to benefit your team. I think this is the year he really steps up and establishes himself as one of the better players in the league. So definitely someone to keep an eye on for draft day. Rank 45 is too low for me. I'm going to be looking for him a bit earlier than that. Okay, the next player we have ranked too low is Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat, ranked 64. Now Bam was one of the big winners from the offseason movement. Last year he was in a massive timeshare with Hassan Whiteside despite being the best center in Miami, but this year things are looking up for him. Hassan's gone to Portland and he's the only really true center on this Miami roster. Why I really rate Bam's game is he can score, rebound, he gets defensive stats, and surprisingly, he's a pretty good passer for a big man. On top of that, he does shoot decent percentages, particularly from the free throw line, which is kind of valuable here. I see him jumping from 23 minutes up to like 30 minutes a game, which is going to be huge for his across the board numbers and production. There's no reason to think Bam couldn't be a top 50 player this season. In fact, that might even be his floor. So at rank 64, this guy has huge upside and huge potential. I would be taking him earlier than this, and you should too. Trust me on this one, guys. Okay, at rank 77, we have Derek Favors from the New Orleans Pelicans. So this might be Yahoo's most perplexing rank yet. He finished up last year about the same value as this, but for whatever reason, despite the fact that he's in a much better opportunity, Yahoo just thinks he's going to do the same. So now he's at New Orleans, who desperately need a center. He's going to be the starting player. He's going to be playing 30 minutes a game. He's playing with past first players like Lonzo and Drew Holiday, so he has nothing but upside. Last year in 23 minutes, he averaged 1.6 blocks a game. So in 30 minutes, there's no reason to think he's going to block under 2. I just don't understand how Yahoo can have him ranked this low. Do they really think he's going to do the same as he did last year? Ultimately, I see this as a top 50 player, ranked in the 70s. Grab him on draft day, guys. Seriously, you will not regret this one. Okay, so next we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the OKC Thunder, ranked at number 91. So this is incredibly low for this player. He was the main focal point of the Paul George trade to Clippers, which means this team wants to build around him. They see him as their point guard of the future. He has nothing but upside. So having him ranked this low when he's coming into a team which doesn't care about wins, cares about player development, and they're going to give him nothing but opportunity and minutes to really shine and develop as a player is insane to me. Now, I think he's going to have a slower start to the year than most, but he'll finish the season super strong. In the second half of the year, he could even be a top 60 player. That might be overstating it. Top 75 might be more realistic, but this is huge value here, guys. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This will be the cheapest you'll be able to get him for seasons to come, so make sure you keep an eye out for this guy here. Rank 91 is just too low. And finally, we have Cedi Osman of the Cleveland Cavaliers, ranked 160. Now, Cedi kind of disappointed last year when he was supposed to take this massive step up to fill the void that LeBron James left in Cleveland. However, for some reason, he seems to be forgotten about. People aren't even drafting him, which means you can get him with your last or second last pick. This guy has nothing but upside. So usually fantasy bloggers and fantasy podcasts are a bit early on fantasy players breaking out. They're usually a season or two premature, and that's because people really do overvalue youth. They fall in love with youth and opportunity. So Cedi was scouted quite high last season to be a real breakout candidate, but I think this is the year he does it. But you don't have to pay the price tag because no one is talking about it. You have Kevin Love healthy now, so that's going to take defensive attention away from him, which means that field goal percentage is going to see a bump up. He's going to be a year older and a year wiser. They have no other wing players really to take minutes off him. So I think there's nothing but upside for Cedi. Take him with your last pick. If it doesn't work out, you don't really care because there's always a good pickup from the waiver wire early on in the season. So don't sleep on Cedi, guys. This could be the year he really makes a name for himself. Okay, that's my run through of the Yahoo rankings, calling out players which are overrated and some players which are underrated where there's a lot of value come draft day. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe because I'm going to be releasing fantasy content all season long. All right, take it easy, team.